So if I made a phone call, you would go check the house anyways, even if somebody was lying to you.
So we have something called the eligibility spectrum. It's a document provided by the province.
And what does that mean?
So that's a document that we determines eligibility for our service. So if the reported concerns meet the criteria for us to send a worker out, then we have an obligation to do that and follow up, meet with everyone.
Okay, and what were the concerns?
So I can tell you generally, the specifics are in my.
I'd like to
notes.
know the specifics because whoever it is that called you is not telling you the truth.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So the general.
I'm a father of 4.
Mhm.
My oldest is nearly 14. Been doing it a long time.
Right. Of course.
Yeah.
So the general concerns I can say were about neglect, about the kids being exposed to conflict.
I think somebody's lying to you, buddy.
It's
Yeah.
possible. Yeah.
No, it's not possible. It's probable.
Right.
Yeah.
So I worry just about your confidentiality having this conversation around everyone. We don't.
Well, I don't mind, man. Like I said, somebody's yanking your chain right now,
Yeah.
right? So.
So we don't need to meet today. The only reason I came by was because I was.
No,
trying to
we
reach
won't
out
be
to the
meeting
number.
again. This is the first and last time you've unprofessionally showed up to my door, right? You text messaged me yesterday, you said?
Oh, okay. So you did get the message.
No, I'm asking you. That's what you said to
Oh,
me.
yes,
You
I
said
did.
you sent me
Yeah.
a message yesterday?
Yeah. So I called.
So why wouldn't you have called me?
Well, I called last week, and then
So you received an anonymous phone call from somebody that you may or may not know who. Did you check the person's identification, like driver's license?
So it was a confidential call.
So it was anonymous, so you don't know who it was.
No, so I know who it was. So
Did you
there's a difference
validate? Did you
between-
go and speak to the person directly, face to face?
So we
Did you
don't-
ask them for their identification card to make sure that the name they provided you was legal and accurate?
So we
Did
don't
you
do that.
follow up with the information that the person said and you wrote it down specifically? So I'd like to see the specific information that they provided to you because, like I said, they're lying to you.
Okay, so we
Yep.
can go through the specifics. It is
Was
on
the
my-
individual male or female that called you?
So I can't share that as well. It is on my laptop.
It's actually against the law what you're telling me right now. You actually do have to tell me.
So we don't. So we're
Yes, because you
governed by
can't,
the Child
you
and
cannot,
Family
you
Services
cannot
Act.
just arbitrarily call an institution like yours lie and then have that individual show up to the person's house.
So people can call us and make reports, and then we do try to reach out to the parent and schedule a time to come. If we're unsuccessful within 7 days, then we have to drop by unannounced. And typically,
Like
the
you said, you
goal
sent me a
is just
text
leave
message
letter.
yesterday, so that's 1 day. So you said 7 days.
Oh,
Why,
I
why are
left a
you here? Why
voicemail.
are you here on the first
I
day?
left a voicemail on Friday as well.
I didn't get that voicemail. Just to note, you're actually walking all over my rights right now, showing up 1, unannounced, 2, sending me a text message yesterday, 3, not accurately identifying the individual face to face. Sounds like you talked on the phone with the person. And if you did that, anybody can make up anything on the phone. I could call you right now and say that my ex-wife is neglective and abusive towards myself, which she was. But see, I'm not going to report that, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that does happen.
Is that
So-
concerning to you?
Well, so
that
we-
my ex-wife was abusive to me
Well, that's something
in front of...
so
Yeah.
That's something we can talk
Is
about,
that
for
concerning to
sure.
you? No, I'm asking you.
Is that concerning?
Is that concerning?
Yes, of
Are you going to go talk to her?
Well, so I would have to get more information.
You need
from
more
you,
information? Like what?
specifics.
Like what kind of
So-
specifics?
Okay, so there's a couple things you're coming at here.
No, you're coming at me first thing in the morning when my kids are inside right now, and I really don't have the time to talk to you about these things, because what you're doing actually is you're monopolizing my time out here when my children are inside right now, right? So like I said, if you received a phone call from somebody, unless you specifically went and spoke to that person face to face, looked at their identification that matched up with the name and the information that they're providing to you, what is the relationship to me with this person?
Right. So I did.
No, I'm asking you, what is
Yeah,
the
so
relation? No,
I'm
what I'm at,
gonna-
no,
I'm gonna
Jason,
stop you
what
there.
I'm asking you
So-
is this person related to me in some way?
I
Or
can't share that. Like I said, it's a
so
confidential call.
it's
I
not a
can't share any
confidential call. So
information.
through Privacy Act, you actually should be telling me who the individual is, because like I said, it sounds like you received a phone call. You didn't validate any information like their identification. You didn't validate their information. You simply took a report. Now you're just nodding your head at me because you don't know what's going on.
No, I
But
absolutely know what's going on.
so what's going on? Explain it to me.
Okay, so I offered to meet with you in your house. You declined. I offered to reschedule.
No,
this
you haven't.
appointment. You declined.
No, just because you say, "Oh, I can come in your house." No, you can't. Do you have a warrant?
No, so exactly.
So step
that.
off my
So
prop.
not-
So step off my property.
Okay, so I'm gonna go.
Okay.
I will need to speak with the children. I'll have to do that at your
No, that's
ex-wife's
not
house.
gonna happen.
So it does happen. Unfortunately, because they'll be in her care at the time, I'm able to go, if she gives permission, and interview them there. So that'll be my next step, to do that piece. I would like to meet with you and discuss everything. I'm not willing to do that
I'm not
outside
discussing
of this
anything
moment.
because there's nothing going on.
Okay.
And whatever information is being provided to you is not true. So
Okay.
and actually what you're doing is you're stepping over my rights as a Canadian citizen right now, okay? Because the two things that what was the complaint again about the children?
So it was about neglect and exposure to adult conflict.
Which adult conflict?
So I'm not willing to go through the specifics outside around everyone.
No, we're
I'm
okay
happy
here.
to make a meeting with you.
No, I'm okay with
like I
that as
said,
well.
I will have to speak with your kids.
When did the incidents happen?
I'll have to do that at
When did the incidents
I'm
happen?
sorry, I'm not.
When
willing
did
to
the
talk
incidents
about
happen?
that. So I do
What's
wanna
the
make
dates
sure-
and the specific times that you believe that this neglect and whatever occurred?
Yeah, I'm gonna give you my brochure and my card. Just know that you can reach out and schedule a meeting. if
No,
you're
I'm good,
ready.
man. You can keep
Doesn't
that.
have to be at your house. It can
No,
be.
you can
be
keep
at
that.
our office.
You can keep that.
Okay.
Like I said, I haven't had issues in the past. My oldest is 14 and my youngest is 2.5, right? So again, you showing up unannounced is against my rights. Okay. And it's against the law. Just so you know
So
that,
it's
okay?
not.
So
but
you could have
can
called.
explain those
You could have
specifics.
called.
So I did call off a voicemail.
No,
I did-
you sent
left
me a
voicemail
text
last
message.
week, sent a
You
text
sent me a
message
text message.
yesterday.
You're not giving me any specifics as far as the situation goes. You can't tell me dates and times where the alleged incidences
I'm happy
occurred.
to do that, but
Then
not
go
out
ahead.
here in
No,
front
go
of your
ahead.
neighbors,
No,
man.
that's fine, man.
I'm not willing
I
to
got
do
nothing to hide, Jay.
Yeah.
I got
So,
nothing to hide, buddy.
So
Let all the
my next
neighbors
step
know.
would
I
be
don't mind, man.
To speak with the kids at your ex-wife's house.
If that's what my ex-wife wants, be very careful with her, though. She tends not to tell the truth about things. Okay.
And
So
then
I haven't
I'll,
filed any complaints or done anything like that. I just recently moved back into town.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. So
So
I'll-
I'm not sure where you're getting these complaints from. Sorry for the person wasting your time. If I do happen to see you again, or you do go talk to my ex-wife or whatever it might be, you're better off if you check the identification of the person who called you. Make sure that that person actually has a legitimate foot to stand on when it comes to the information that they're providing, because people like to lie and make things up, right?
Yeah, it does happen. That's why I'm here today, to get your perspective on the allegations.
I just told you
we
what
don't believe
I
everything
just
that-
told
that
you what
people
my
tell us when
perspective
they
on the
call.
allegations are. Well, at least the non-specific, specific allegations that you're making against me. It was neglect and what was the other thing?
Exposure to adult conflict.
Exposure.
kids-
So can you be specific about that?
Yeah, so it's specifically that the kids are at risk of emotional harm for being exposed to
What type of
either
emotional
adult
harm?
conflict or post-separation.
I'm the only adult that lives in here, and my ex-wife and I have been separated for over 2 years now.
Right.
So what you're saying is a very broad statement, which is not specific
So
in
I'm
any
happy to
sense of
provide
you
specifics, just
saying.
not in this context.
In what you're saying as specific is actually very broad and very non-specific as
Right.
to what you're saying right now. So although you might be saying words that you feel are specific, it's actually
I
very
don't feel that
broad
specific. I feel
brushstroke.
that you asked for some information. That's what I can provide.
No, I'm
Without
asking
sitting
you. No,
down
no, no,
and
no.
going through
See,
notes and
you've
details.
come here and told me that I may or may not be guilty of something, right?
No.
So what I'm doing is I'm defending myself and I'm defending my children as well. And I'm going to tell you for the 5th time, whoever made this anonymous call to you, you call it confidential. Confidential is a fancy word for anonymous.
Right.
Okay?
Well,
No, no,
confidential
no.
just means
No,
They
no.
gave their name.
Confidential.
But I can't share that.
So that it's anonymous.
So anonymous would be someone calls and doesn't give any information.
Well, you're not giving me any information, so it's anonymous.
Right. I
So you could use the word confidential, but it's actually anonymous,
Right, I
right? If
guess
you're
you
not
could-
going to give me any specifics, because if you told me the person's name, I could probably tell you their character, right? Like I was a PI for 12, 13 years, right? Private investigator. So I've dealt with child custody and, different things like that, right? So this isn't the first time that I've seen something like this where Could be a parent, a friend, a family member, somebody who doesn't like the party. Like, let's say somebody doesn't like me, right? Or the party involved. Well, they're going to call and make these wild accusations
Yeah. Oh yeah.
against
we
a
take malicious
father,
calls, absolutely.
right? In an attempt to make it look like my character is not above board or whatever it is. And again, with your broad brushstrokes that you're bringing here, it sounds like you don't know anything, right? And well, what you want to do is you want to find out what's going on.
Yeah. Just get your perspective.
I've
so
given
we
you my
really get-
perspective is that I have 4 children. I've recently moved back into town. Everything is going fine in there, other than kids who act up in general, which is par for the course. If you received an anonymous or what you would say confidential call, whether it's from my ex-wife or one of her friends or family member or something like that, is that I'll tell you right now, Jason, they're lying to you. Okay? Yeah. Will you take me at my word?
Not usually. So
You
what
won't
we
take me at
typically
my
have to
word?
do, we have to meet with the kids.
Oh, so you still have to go. So you still have to
meet
walk
with
all
the
over my
parents.
rights to go one-on-one because somebody filed an anonymous call. Right. So what if I filed an anonymous call right now with Children's Aid Society about you showing up to my property unannounced for no specific reason whatsoever? No, other than you receiving a confidentially anonymous call and you are brushing broad strokes trying to see what's going on when there is nothing that's going on.
So like
that
I said, we're
requires
governed by
your involvement.
The Child and Youth Family Services Act. It dictates how we respond to these types of calls. This is exactly our procedure. I understand it's frustrating, and I'm here.
No, what you're doing.
surprising you and,
No, you're not
that's
surprising me.
that's
What
not
you're
a
doing.
experience. No one wants
What you're doing is illegal right now.
So it's not illegal.
Yes, it is
for
illegal
sure.
right now. 100% it's illegal what
this
you're doing.
is-
Because like I said, I could pick up the phone right now. You have kids?
No, I don't.
You don't have any kids. But you work for the children. So you don't have any kids. You work for the Children's Aid Society. And you're going to come in, talk to my children, talk to me, like you know how to raise a family.
Well, I'm not raising it.
No.
I'm
What
just
I'm saying though is that
checking
you're
in
going to be
around
able to
the
tell me better than what I know myself about how I should be raising my children. Is
No,
that what you're telling
I
me?
certainly don't tell you how you should raise.
So then what are you doing here?
I'm here to look into the allegations and get your perspective. That's all.
I just told you. I've answered you several times and I'll answer you again. I mean, I have this video running. I'll tell you again. The 2 broad allegations that you're making are unfounded. You have no evidence to support the claim that you're making right now. You've actually admitted that you did not meet the person you spoke to on the phone in
We
person.
would never meet the
And
person
you
who
didn't
called.
verify their identification. So like I said, if you had a family and I don't like you, I could pick up the phone right now, call the Children's Aid Society and say you're neglecting your children, and Children's Aid Society would show up, come bother you. Hey brother, have a good day, man. All right, man. See you later.
So I'm gonna go. Like I said, I'm happy to meet with you. It doesn't have to be today. I
No,
will need
Jason,
to
you're
follow
not
up with the
understanding. We're not
kids.
going to meet again.
Okay, that's fine.
Because like I said, you have no reason to be here other than an anonymously confidential phone call that you don't know who you were talking to. They could have told you that their name was Jason, for all you know. But you didn't meet the person. You don't know. And not only that, if you had a family and I didn't like you, I would just pick up the phone and say, you know what, this Jason guy, he's a neglectful father. You really need to go check him out.
So,
Right? And then Children's Aid Society would send somebody down to your house, cause problems on your property, right? Take your life, flip it upside down, simply because a person didn't like you, when what you should be doing and what your manager should be doing is going to meet with that individual that made that anonymous phone call, ask for a piece of identification, tell them to write out specifically dates, times, and situations where they were physically present. Okay? Not overhearing something, but where they were physically present when something neglectful was going on. Right? Which you haven't done. So instead of starting at step 1 of an investigation, you've started at step 10 of an investigation. Because if you actually were to go back to step 1, you would realize there's nothing for you to investigate. Because, Jason, let me tell you, right? You went to 4 years of undergraduate, you went to 1 year of master's, and you've been doing this how long?
15 years.
15 years. And you just jumped 10 steps to come to my door against my rights simply because you carry a badge saying, well, this permits me to do whatever I feel like. No. Right?
So everything is voluntary. I just have an
so it's
obligation
voluntary.
to show up,
And I just told you
and
there's
you're
no
refusing
need
to
for
meet, and that's
I have
fine.
met. I've actually been talking to you for 15 minutes now.
Okay. Well, so like I
I've been
said,
talking to you
can't
for
get
15
into
minutes.
specifics.
You haven't given me any specifics, but then you say, "Well, we have specifics, but I can't give you the specifics." But
Not
let me
out
give
in
you a
public
broad
with all your
let me give you
business.
broad details that specifically tell you nothing.
Yeah.
Is what you're telling me right now. So when you start an investigation, let me tell you, okay, I've been a PI for, I already told you, right? So not as long as you've been a social services worker, but I've been a PI almost as long as you've been a social services worker. Step one, when somebody makes an accusation, you go directly face to face and you talk to that individual, you verify their ID and the relationship that they have to that person. You ask them to specifically write down dates, times, situations that they were present for, a sort of who, what, where, when, why, and how, right? Have you done that?
So we don't do that.
So you haven't done it.
No child protection agency.
So you haven't done it. So like I said, it sounds like somebody's pulling your leg, making wild accusations against me, because you know what, man? They don't like me. That's what's going on right now, right? A lot of people don't like me, and I get that, but I'm a good dad. So,
Okay.
all right.
I'm gonna head out. If the kids do share any concerns, you're open.
Let me
receive
share you
information.
my concerns right now. My concern is that you've shown up unannounced to my house claiming that somebody has filed accusations against me and my children. I've asked you to detail specifically the situations, dates, times.
And I've offered you a meeting to do that.
No, I'm asking you to do it right now. We
I
could
said
bring
I'm
two
not
chairs
willing
out here. I'll bring my kids out.
In front of all your neighbors.
Oh, I don't mind, man. I got nothing to hide. Do you have anything to hide?
I have nothing to hide.
Then why are you so worried about showing me the specific details of the
not
dates,
concerned
times,
with any of the
accusations?
specifics. I'm just not
You've
willing to
also
do it.
admitted that you took an anonymously confidential phone call, and all you have is maybe a first name of the individual. You didn't validate that person is in fact a real person. You just spoke to them on the phone, and you're like, this is what we're going to do. You must be really bored at the Children's Aid Society to come out here and do something like this, right?
So
Because when you start, when you start an investigation, you get all of the information up front. You don't have all the information. You don't even know the person that filed the accusation other than their name over the phone. Right? Did you validate that through the government of Canada to make sure that person actually exists?
Okay, I feel like we're kind of moving in circles here.
No, we're not moving in circles. See, you're moving in circles. No. See, Jason, you're moving in circles because you're not giving me any specific details. You're actually worried now that, like, oh, geez, yeah, maybe I didn't verify that person's information.
We
maybe
never do that. It's not
right. So if you had a So if you had a family and I didn't like you, I could pick up the phone and call and say, you know what, Jason and his kids, this is what's going on. You better go check them out. But I only did that because I don't like your attitude.
So we get malicious calls.
Oh, good. Well, here's a malicious phone call that you received. So
that's
if you
why
have
we
that...
follow up with the family.
Well,
That's
thank
why
you
we
for
meet
following
with
up.
them.
I appreciate it, but there's nothing to worry about at this address, right?
All right. Thank you, Justin. I'll be in touch. I'll reach out once I speak to the kids, just because...
You're not talking to my
haven't
kids,
had a
buddy.
chance.
They're under 18 years of age.
So, like I
No,
said...
no, no.
I'll
Listen,
have to-
Jason. No,
I'll have to reach out to
there
them
are
when
there
they're-
are laws in Canada that prohibit people like you speaking to children under the age of 18.
So,
And I've just told you, I refuse to accept you speaking to my kids who are under the age of 18. Now, if you don't listen to me and you go to my ex-wife's house and then you have a conversation with my kids, that's against the law.
So it's not.
It is.
Whichever
Jason,
parent has the name of care
Jason,
at the time,
no,
they
Jason,
consent
it is
to
against the
a
law.
Children's Aid Society
Jason, it's
review.
against the law. Do you know why it's against the law? Because the information you have was from a malicious phone call that you just literally specifically admitted that perhaps it was a malicious phone call. I will confirm for you that it was a malicious phone call because some people don't like me, man. Maybe people don't like you. Right? I got no issues with you. I just met you. I'd go out for a beer with you. I got no problems. Right? But when you start an investigation, step one, Validate the information that you're receiving. Don't simply take it at face value, which you didn't even take it at face value. You took it on a phone call, somebody saying that their name is Michael Jackson or whatever it is. Oh, Michael Jackson called. He's filed a complaint against the family. Better go check it out. Yeah. No, you can't do that, Jason. There are specific laws in Canada that come to the Family Act, okay?
So the Child and Youth Family Services Act is what dictates how we respond
to follow up with families through malicious phone calls.
Yes, exactly that.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, it means people can call.
Can you tell me specifically the law, the section, and the subsection of what you're specifically asking for right now? You went to school. You've been doing it 15 years. You must know the law, right?
Yeah. So the tool, the book, the handbook that we use.
No, not the handbook. No. See, there are many
parts of the act. So the eligibility spectrum.
So what act is it?
The Child and Youth Family Services Act.
Perfect. Now I want you to tell me specifically what law you're here under the Child Youth Protection Services Act. Which law is it?
So the eligibility spectrum is how we code information.
Which law specifically in the Child Protection Act are you here on right now? Is it Law 1, Law 2, Law 3, Law 4, Law 100? Which one is it?
It's an immense act.
It's an immense act. But you're here but you're here specifically. You must know what law you're falling under right now.
Yeah.
So which law, which section, and which subsection are you here under right now specifically?
Okay.
You've been doing it 15 years.
We're not going to get anywhere.
Well, no, but you've been doing it 15 years. You went to school for 5. That's 20 years you've been doing it. 20 years. And you can't specifically tell me what law you're here under, what section you're under, and what subsection you're under. You're only here because you received a malicious phone call from an individual. Right. Okay. So do you have you felt like you've done your job today?
Have you felt like you've in meeting with you?
No. Have you felt like you've done your job? Because you're painting broad strokes, but telling me you're specifically doing things right now. So what law prompted you to come here?
The Child and Youth Family Services.
No, that's the act.
Section, I'd have to look it up. I don't
Perfect. Look it up, man.
Memorize. I don't have my eligibility spectrum here with me.
Well, it seems like you came unprepared, right?
I came absolutely prepared.
Then show me what you got.
We would not typically
show me what you got, Jay.
Okay, I'm going to head out.
Show me what you got.
Thank you for at least talking with me.
When you're going to conduct an investigation, start at step 1. Because maybe the person who maliciously called you could be a drug addict, could be an individual who is off their medication, right? And for you to come here and bug me and bug my family is actually against my rights. It's against my children's rights. And again, if you leave here and you go talk to my ex-wife and my kids when my kids aren't here, those kids are under 18, I have a right to be present when you're speaking to those kids. So let me tell you, Jay, if you speak to those children when I'm not present, you're actually breaking the law, and I'll call the police. Okay. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yep. So like I explained, we're not breaking the law.
You're no, you will. Well, you're not now because I'm not letting you talk to my kids, and I'm not really.
But if I go see them
until you specifically give me no. See, if you go to my ex-wife's house and she gives you permission to talk to them, you also need my permission to talk to them. You do. It's not one-party consent because there are 2 parents involved. Both parents need to give consent to speak to any child under the age of 18. So if you go there and you bypass me to speak with my children, you've actually broken the law under the Child and Youth Protection Services Act. And I'd be happy to look up that law for you as well. But not only that, when you are questioning children under 18 years old, that information can't be used because you don't know if the information is accurate or if the information is a lie. Okay? So if you feel like that's what you need to do next, if I talk to my ex-wife and I talk to my kids that you've spoken to them, I will call the Ottawa police, okay? And say that he spoke to my children under the age of 18 without having consent from the father, right? Now, you can get consent from the mother. That's perfectly fine. But it isn't one-party consent to speak to children. It's like, if a kid witnessed a crime or something like that, and the police brought him in, and they started asking him questions, and they say, oh, well, it was this guy who pushed this guy, or whatever it is, but the kid's under 18. Do you know it's actually against the law for the police to do that without having the children's parents present? Right. Yeah. Did you know that?
Okay.
No. Did you know that?
Just not going to go.
No, I'm asking you.
I'll reach out again. I
No,
hope that we can meet. And,
don't
thanks
feel
for
like you
talking
need
to me
to
today.
reach out again, okay, Jay?
Take care.
What you should do is you should follow up with the malicious phone call you received to make sure that individual actually exists. Sounds like they're pulling your leg, Jay. It really does, man. I'm sorry for you, buddy. Must be a tough job. Have a good day.